We are live. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, come one, come all. Welcome to the Cosmic Countdown. I am just my 2 cents. I'm joined here by my friend and co host, the one and only Aaron the Dog. Thank you for being here, sir. How are you today, my friend?
It's business casual day here at the Cosmic Countdown. We both are in our button-up shirts. Well, you are not in a button-up shirt. You're wearing some sort of. Who is that? Is that the guy?
That's the shadow.
Oh, okay, that's the shadow. I was gonna say, is it the guy from Ravenous? But you've probably not seen Ravenous. Ravenous is a great movie.
Man, dude, that almost made the cut too. That I'm making a top 200 list, and that'll be in it.
Yeah, Ravenous is dope though. So go check out Ravenous. But I'm good, man. Glad to be back for another week here. I know we've made some changes to how we're going to approach the final 20, 21 or something?
So I was like trying to think of how to do it because it was like I really like the last few.
The last 15?
Yeah, the last 15. Like okay. Those are going to be pretty fucking near and dear to our hearts is what I figured.
Yeah, so that's like, okay. So we're going to do 5 a week. So we got 5 more movies to talk about this week. We're at 96 to 91. First week was the honorable mentions, and our first 5, we had 1 match so far. That has been So I Married an Axe Murderer of all movies, which I don't believe we ever talked about before streaming together. So if so, it was mentioned very briefly. So pretty funny movie to be the first, and be interesting to see. I'm going to make a prediction now. I don't think we match on a movie through this 5, but now we're down to 5 movies a week until we get to the top 15. Then we're going 3 a week for the last 5 weeks. So all together, I'm not good at math, but I think that's like 23, 24 weeks. So nearly half a year, we're going to be talking about our favorite 100 movies. So
yeah, dude,
works for me because I'm not sure when the return to MMA is going to be happening here. So shout out to Lady TC for the gorgeous overlay, and appreciate the support as always. So
she's number 1.
I can't say that, but yeah, she's a pretty cool lady.
Fair enough. I certainly understand. Well, man, yeah, welcome everybody. Got a couple comments in the chat. My dude, Big Show, I don't have your avatar. I had to dedicate that to all the movies and stuff. But what's up, my dude? Shout out to Show and all the boys at Pub. And Aaron the Dog, dude, you're in the chat and here on stream.
I'm everywhere.
The technology is well crazy.
Noah's late.
I know he's I'm not punctual, so I can't really talk shit. But yeah,
we started late anyways.
Tardiness.
But yeah, man, I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be talking about movies. That's never going to change. I can guarantee that.
Well, man, thank you so much. This is a real treat for me, and I agree, man. This is a labor of love for sure. So without further ado, just a little reminder, anyone that comes in here, smash the like button for sure. Follow Aaron where the banner said to, and just a reminder, this is a judgment-free zone. These are not quote unquote the fucking best movies. These are just our favorites. So yeah, we'll get into it. If it's all right with you, you want to start this one off again?
Yeah, man. I'm always down to talk, no matter how much we're talking about movies. So yeah, getting into the list, we start at number 96 today. I'm going to the 80s for this one, specifically 1986, 85, 1985. So this is my first 80s movie to make my top 100. First week we had 3 90s movies, a 70s and 2000 movie. This is the first 80s movie to make the list. This is a movie I actually saw somewhat recently, maybe a year or so ago, but instantly wish I would have saw it throughout my life. And still, even at the point where I'm a little bit past some of the things. So the 80s, they're known for a lot of great things, some not great things in movies. But I think high school coming of age is maybe the most synonymous thing I think of with the 80s, particularly comedies, John Hughes and whatnot. Mine is not a John Hughes movie, however.
Oh, man.
So I'm not sure if a John Hughes movie made my list actually, but anyways, this one's starring John Cusack. It is super surreal, but also mixes in kind of the tropes of some 80s coming of age comedies. It's starring John Cusack, directed by Savage Steve Holland. If you don't know who that is, yeah, he's awesome. A really interesting director. And it's called Better Off Dead. Have you seen Better Off Dead?
Yes, I've seen Better Off Dead. As soon as you said 1985 and John Cusack and surreal, I was like, oh, okay, and I just started typing the banner. Man, I've seen it. Yeah, it's I haven't watched it in a while, and I feel like the last time I watched it, I was either like really drunk or like it was late at night, and I remember some of the scenes, but I need to give it a proper viewing, and I
Yeah,
definitely
man,
will now.
you need to get high as hell for this movie too, because this movie it is super surreal and kind of mixes it together with a bunch of. So I'll read the synopsis for people who aren't in the know on Better Off Dead. Insanity doesn't run in the family; it gallops. High school student Lane Meyer sinks into a suicidal depression when his girlfriend dumps him for the ski captain Roy Stalin, the high school ski racing champion. Meanwhile, he has to deal with his eccentric family, a tenacious paper boy, and an obnoxious neighbor whose mother is hosting a beautiful French exchange student named Monique. I mentioned last week, I think with So I Married an Axe Murderer. I used to be kind of a hopeless romantic. I'm more of a hopeful romantic at this point now that I've actually had a little more success in that realm.
Yeah.
But you can still kind of have those nostalgic feelings of how you felt at the time when you
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah, when you broke up with that high school girlfriend and you basically wanted to kill yourself. That's what this movie essentially is about. It's a black comedy, for sure, and those are some of my favorite comedies ever. It's got some really crazy moments in it where there's like claymation over like Van Halen music, and it's just like, I mean, and I've learned that Savage Steve Holland, who wrote and directed the movie, based it off his own experience. And this movie feels very authentic. It really does. It's very exaggerated, but that's what being a teenager kind of is about. And it's a movie that maybe if I saw it too early, I wouldn't have quite gotten it. I would have been like, this is too weird. Kind of funny. Siskel and Ebert, they both hated this movie. They thought it was a stupid comedy. I think it's got quite a bit of brains to it and a ton of heart. There's really great performances in it as well. The guy who played Booger, Curtis Armstrong from Revenge of the Nerds.
Oh yeah, nerds.
Yeah, he plays like his best friend in the movie who gives him like ski lessons. And he wears like a top hat, and he's just like super weird. And there's all sorts of weird moments. He's getting harassed by the paperboy throughout the movie for $2. The paperboy is like $2. $2.
Yes, dude, I do remember that part. Yeah.
Like his mom can't cook and makes all sorts of nasty shit from a cookbook, and it's like moving off his plate. Like she's like cooking like a alien looking like octopus at one point, like trying to shove it. And it's like just like, what is going on here?
This is the one where he like contemplates different ways to like off himself, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and
I need to watch this, man.
And in one of my favorite movies of all time, which we'll be talking about in a long time, it definitely took inspiration, or that Bear Off Dead took inspiration from that movie, but while not ripping it off. Also, he has a brother named Badger who doesn't talk throughout the movie, but he's like way better at pulling women. He's stealing all the cereal box like labels because he's trying to do something which I won't give away, but like there's all these points in the movie where like the dad's grabbing a cereal box out. Like it's a reoccurring bit throughout the movie. He's like grabbing cereal boxes out and they're like spilling all over the place. His dad's just like that 80s dad, typical 80s dad. Falls in love with the foreign exchange student across the street named Monique with like the worst French accent ever, but it's on purpose. Like, yeah, this is 96, or is it 95? I thought it was 96 we're on. Because we're doing 90. Is it 95? Hold on. Yeah, 95. I'm stupid.
Yeah, 95. Yeah.
Yeah, but either way, this is a great movie. There's a ton more in it that I'm not going to give away, but I just think this is one that gets really slept on. I hear the Breakfast Clubs and all the others brought up a lot. This one's a little more bizarre, but I think that it really blends it together well, and it kind of encapsulates. 80s aren't my favorite decade of film, probably not even close, but this kind of encapsulates everything great about it. So Better Off Dead, go check it out. It's a great one.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch that again because what happens is I like John Cusack a lot, but I get Better Off Dead jumbled up with what is it like?
Wet Hot American Summer,
Wet Wild American Summer, and Say Anything. I get those all kind of I like what that the Wet Hot Wild American Summer. Like I haven't seen that in a while either, but like I love Say Anything. I like that is an honorable mention. That didn't make my list, but that's a really good one too. And I do John Cusack fucking.
Are you talking about One Crazy? Are you talking about One Crazy Summer? The other
One Crazy Summer, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Wet Hot American Summer is the one from 2000.
Yeah, that's the one that was later.
One Crazy Summer, also directed by Savage Steve Holland. It was the one that John Cusack was in after Better Off Dead.
Makes sense. Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch that again, man.
Yeah, it's a good list.
They used to fucking have that playing on Comedy Central a lot, like late night.
Yeah, no, that would make sense. I'm looking to see if it's playing anywhere streaming, but it looks like it's on Paramount Plus. If you for some reason have that, and it's playing on Showtime, which is also through Paramount Plus now, I believe. But yeah, it's one you should track down. It's worth watching for sure.
Nice, dude. Nice. I will definitely do that. All right. Well, I'm gonna make my 95 pretty short. And I mentioned this, I alluded to this on the last stream, but I'll just remind everyone again, this is a judgment-free zone, and I'm really gonna need everyone to take heed of that for this next one, because I'm honestly like, I kind of like hate myself for how much I like this movie. This is absolutely like a guilty pleasure. And this will be a little bit of foreshadowing too, because I definitely have some other movies like this that are just like, God, this is one of your favorite movies. Like,
it's okay.
It is. So let's just go ahead and kick off my first one for this week. This is a very, let's see, I got my notes here, but they're definitely shorter for this one than the other ones this week. So yeah, this movie is very silly. Very stupid, but I find it very funny. And if you like look up the background of this movie and who directed it and like who he tends to work with, it all makes sense. It's like, okay, you're all a bunch of fucking men children, grown fucking kids, big kids, and this is exactly like what this movie is. It's like, and I think that the director even like comments on that. He's like, yeah, this was like, I just went in and did whatever the fuck I want, and the dudes I was working with did the same. But without further ado, I give you my number 95. This movie is ridiculous. The other most famous movie by this director is well known and probably liked more, but I like this one more. I can't get enough of this movie. Every time I see it, like I try not to laugh. Like I hate myself for how much I love this movie, but I love it, man. Number 95 for me is the David Gordon Green joint, Your Highness.
Oh boy, yeah, we're not going to judge here. So you left Pineapple. So just to get this straight, you left Pineapple Express off your list, and you put Your Highness on the list.
Yes.
Explain.
Again, like I was just saying, I don't think Your Highness is a better movie than Pineapple Express. Let me make that clear.
We're not. Yeah.
Pineapple Express is a classic. I get it. I own Pineapple Express. I laugh my ass off when I watch it. But this movie just makes me fucking tee-hee relentlessly, man. It's so silly and stupid. Danny McBride has a horrible fucking accent. And it's just like, the whole thing just seems like one big improv bit. Like I said, it's silly, it's stupid, but Danny McBride's character is so absurd and like, spoiler alert, there's a fucking panoramic shot of him like swinging a sword with a fucking like severed minotaur's cock like hanging from his fucking neck. That's what you're getting there. Yeah, I love it. Can't get enough. Every time I see it,
I mean, I've only seen it once, and I saw it in theaters, expecting it to be a classic like Pineapple Express. I'm curious.
It's not. It's not.
But I'm curious how on a revisit with my expectations a little more measured. Like, I'm thinking it might have aged a little better than people realize. I think this is one that everybody saw when it came out and decided we're never going to watch it again, except for you.
Yeah, well, it's like Justin Theroux as Lazar is ridiculous. Like, he's so like arrogant, and cocky, and such a fucking incel. And he's just like he fucking like crushes up a pixie and snorts it like a line right in front of the fucking chick. Oh, yeah. Well, you think you can be like me? Because I'm a sorcerer, I can do magic.
Isn't there like a weird like alien who likes having his balls played with or something? Or am I
Yes. It's a fucking like creepy, like sage, like wizard character that like you find out like diddled James Franco as a kid. And Danny McBride's like, what the fuck is this? Like, who is this guy? And he's like, I'm pretty sure that he fondled such and such as a fucking child.
Yeah.
It's just like there's a bunch of ridiculous quotes in it. He's like, look at Courtney's new haircut. Doesn't it make his head look like the tip of a penis? It's very silly. It's very silly and stupid, and like it has to be taken with a grain of salt. But that's just the kind of movie that I love. That's the kind of comedies I like.
Yeah, no, this is your list. No one can tell you what is it your favorite. I would need to revisit this because I do remember hating it in the theaters.
I don't blame anyone for hating it.
I remember our whole theater actually, I think, kind of unanimously agreed that this was terrible. And
it's a very stupid movie.
Yeah, it is. It is.
But but people always bring up the term the fucking. The fucking is from this movie. It is a magical ritual where fucking, you have to watch the movie to find out. But yeah, that's what it's from.
Fair enough.
All right. Well, let's press on from Your Highness. I think we've had enough talk about that ridiculous movie for one day.
It's an underappreciated title. I'll say that. Like, very, very good title.
And I'll say this too. It is a total stoner movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Danny McBride smokes weed throughout the whole thing. Yep. They're smoking the peace pipe with that crazy alien creature thing. He's like, he talks about it the whole time. He's like, I'm good, some fine collie to puff upon. So yeah, smoke a fat bowl and watch Your Highness.
Yeah, don't watch Your Highness sober. That would be horrible.
Yeah, don't do that.
That's just mean to yourself and everybody else, the filmmakers. All right, number 94. We're going. We got our first Quentin Tarantino, I believe, on either list. Even though True, Romance was written by him, this is my first Quentin Tarantino directed movie. Isn't my last one, I don't believe. This one is an ode to my favorite decade of film. It's the 70s. That should be enough of a hint right there. But if you need a little more of a hint, Pam fucking Grier. I mean, it's just like you can't. Pam Grier, Samuel L. Jackson, Robert De Niro, Bridget Fonda, Michael Keaton, Robert Forster. It is Jackie motherfucking Brown. This movie rules. 1997 came out. Everybody, when this first came out, I feel like was expecting another Pulp Fiction from the writing and, from even the title. It has the same title as Pulp Fiction, almost that same font. Very different movie. It's just about 6 people who are going after $500,000. Who's playing who, and it's just, so many good character moments. As my favorite Samuel L. Jackson performance ever, honestly, and he's been in 1 million movies. Another really good stoner flick as well. Seeing Robert De Niro clear a skull bong is something you can never unsee. It's pretty great. It's just kind of about a flight attendant who gets caught in the middle of a huge smuggling, kind of ring with gun runners and cash and all sorts of things. Has some amazing music, the Delphonics. Didn't I Blow Your Mind?
My God.
I mean, you're going to be singing it forever after this. And it's got a really nice little like undercurrent of a love story with Max Cherry and Jackie Brown as well. And it's just a very good ode to the best decade in film, which is the 70s. It's a little over 2 hours long, but I don't think it overstays its welcome. I think it moves at a really good pace. The opening is so great of watching Pam Grier walk across the airport. I don't remember the song, but just a great soundtrack.
I think it's street. Is it street? Well, I don't know if I was supposed to stop you or not, but I'm gonna have to punt on this one. I have Jackie Brown on my list, much higher.
We'll talk about it. We'll talk more about it when it gets to your. It probably should be higher on my list too, honestly.
No, dude. I have Your Highness on my fucking list, and Pineapple Express was left off. So you put Jackie Brown wherever you want.
Yeah, we'll talk about it more when we get to it in a few weeks or whenever. But yeah, Jackie Brown is my 94. So
it is that movie. It warms my heart to hear you have that on your list and to see it. And I couldn't agree more with the things you said. It's one of Tarantino's best in my opinion.
Yeah, and I came to it pretty late on because just like younger, I was like looking for Reservoir Dogs. I was looking for the Pulp Fictions, and to me, like I was like, this is too much talking and not enough. But it honestly is probably one of his most entertaining movies he's ever made.
Yeah, it is really good, man. And we will definitely talk more about it.
We'll talk about it soon. So punt.
All right, number 94. Well, I told Aaron this backstage this past week in anticipation of this stream, and you guys may or may not know this. Most of you probably do if you're familiar with this channel. But your boy is a bit of a sucker for the Schwartz. Your boy is a big Arnold Schwarzenegger fan. I misspoke earlier this week because I told you I had 6. I actually have 7, dude. I have 7 Arnold movies, and this is the first of many. I am taking it to the 80s myself. This is not anywhere close to his most well-known movie, but to me, I'm not saying it is anywhere close to the best Arnold movie. I would never purport that, but this movie is just fun, man. This is a fun Arnold movie, and my God, is it chock full of Arnie one-liners. I mean, I think that's what one like ingredient that makes a great Arnold movie is like memorable quotes. Obviously the moments and like cool scenes and badass shit, but like this one is full of one-liners, and it's just a fun, like kind of crazy 80s movie. So without further ado, I give you my number 94, the first, but certainly not anywhere close to the last Arnold movie that will appear on my list. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you The Running Man.
Never seen it.
Really?
Yep, never seen it. I like Arnold, but I'm missing some of his deep cuts, and I've never seen it. Tell me why.
Okay, well, let me sell you and anyone else that hasn't seen this. I'll set the scene. This is a fun, violent movie. Arnold plays an ex-cop that is framed for mass murder, and he unwillingly becomes a contestant on a sadistic live-action TV game show where convicts can earn their freedom if they survive being hunted down by these like fucking murderous gladiator dudes called stalkers. And that's what you see right there in that avatar.
Sounds movie, like kind of sounds like Squid Game.
Dude, it is like, yeah, it's definitely like a Squid Game precursor. But dude, you might like this because the source material for this is just unworldly. This movie is based off a 1982 Richard Bachman, aka Stephen King, short story. And this is like, it's a novel actually, I think. But this is like primetime Stephen King, dude. So this is like after Carrie, Salem's Lot, and The Shining, but it's before Pet Sematary, Thinner, It, and Misery. So King wrote this like in his heyday. But I love the way it's adapted. I've actually never read The Running Man, but like, dude, this movie has like all the classic Arnold tropes. Like tons of shots of Arnold looking just jacked as a motherfucker. It's got all these classic Schwartz one-liners. I won't spoil them if you haven't seen it, but dude, it doesn't get 10 minutes into the movie before he's hitting you with one. So like, if you like that, that's pretty cool too. Like, there's actually a decent amount of like world building for what looks like a stupid movie, but the fight scenes are awesome. It's like these classic set piece like showdown fights. It's got a good like 80s score, like the music is perfect for it. And dude, Richard Dawson is the fucking host.
Oh yeah, so
of the fucking of the show or whatever. He's great. Jesse the Body Ventura is in it. He's great. Jim Brown is in it.
So
He's awesome.
this director also directed The Air Up There, the '90s movie with Kevin Bacon and like the guy from Africa, and Kazam.
Fuck
It's
yeah.
the same director. And then he did a movie called The Cutting Edge, which I've never heard of.
That sounds like the dude that directed The Shadow. That guy directed The Highlander and The Highlander 2: The Quickening, which is like one of the worst movies ever.
Yeah, no, I'm intrigued. I added it to my list. Right now, that is ahead of Your Highness for the movie from your list. I'm going to be rewatching or watching.
Killian, I'll be back. All right, well, that's my number 93. Yeah, man, you can fire away whenever. I'll put up the comments from the chat and shit while we're going.
So my last movie was a 90s movie. This is a 90s movie. Used to be a big fan of this guy. Honestly, his movies have not been as good over the last 10 plus years, but Will Smith back in the day ruled, and Michael Bay back in the day ruled. Martin Lawrence back in the day ruled. Bad Boys fucking rules. And probably one of my most rewatched movies as a kid. I just love this movie. What You Gonna Do When They Come For You? You got Marcus Lawrence, the family man. You got Mike Lowry, the bachelor, then you got Tia Leone as the the damsel in distress, basically. You've got a really good foreign villain who I think he's French, Fouché, I'm not sure, but he's really good. You got drugs involved. There's some moments like at the beginning where like you do definitely like it does get pretty like violent with what kind of sparks the whole chase of the drug dealer when they come in and bust the guy who's trying to impress these girls, and Tia Leone goes with her friend because they're like quasi hookers and like just trying to get paid, and then gets caught up in this whole ring here, and it just leads into some of the best car chases and chases ever. There's really great gunplay where you don't have to reload until it's important for the plot. Otherwise, these like pistols have like unlimited, rounds in them. Like, give me some bubblicious and some skills. Yeah, like Joe Pantaleone is just yelling the whole time. They've got Detective Ruiz and Detective Sanchez, which sound basically as stereotypical as you can expect. It takes place in Miami. Like the first heist scene is really great as well. There's still that moment where it's at the very beginning. If you haven't seen Bad Boys, like, what are you doing? But like at the beginning when they tranquilize or kill the guard with the syringe, and that always freaked me out. Like that part. I mean, it's just a really great heist movie, and there's all the kind of side characters really show up too. I think it's like JoJo at the tire store. Who was like an old informant who like they're just like holding over his head. Like everybody, like whether they're a big role, small role, and like you can tell Tia Leone is like starting to catch on like that they switch places because like it's just like Martin Lawrence is just not a convincing bachelor, and he has all these pictures up in his house of Mike Lowry, and he's like, oh no, he's my partner. It's like are you guys gay? Like it's just.
Right, dude. I love the relation. The chemistry between Lawrence and Smith is obvious. Like that's the most Captain Obvious statement.
It's still great. All three of the movies, it's been great. And so,
dude, and what's crazy is I was expecting to get like sick of it, but it's like, nah, man, they're so fucking good together. Like the two of them. And dude, yeah, this is a great choice, man. Bad Boys does fucking rock. It's just a kick-ass '90s movie. Like you said it. Like Bay in the '90s. He just fucking killed it. Like this has the big scale, slick action movie Like it's funny, like it's badass. Like I love it,
Like
man.
the chase where like Martin Lawrence is like running with his shirt wide open, like it's just ridiculous, but somehow he's catching up to like the car that's speeding away. It's just like it is kind of everything a great 90s movie is encapsulated. And like I've seen this movie countless amounts of times. I have no idea. It's probably in the upper 20s or 30s at this point. Always have loved it. They say like it's just a great movie. I'm sure we've all seen it. And
it is, man. Like, and it's got the classic like Bay shit, like the crazy like music and the intense action scenes, the over the top fucking like action.
This and one other Bay movie are him at his best.
Oh yeah, I think I might know which one you're talking about too. Because yeah, well, anyway,
it might be on my list.
What up, Banjo? What are you doing? Shout out to my dude. Shout out to the Dome. A Dome up in here strong. Bad Boys Cool and Running Man. Fuck yeah. Man, if y'all haven't seen The Running Man, yeah, it is a good time. Yeah, crack open a cold one and pack a bowl and watch The Running Man and watch Bad Boys. Dude, if you haven't seen Bad Boys, dude,
and I understand everybody's saying Jackie Brown for sure. Jackie Brown's a better movie. You're right. Jackie Brown's a better movie than a lot of movies I'm going to mention. This is just my list. And
but yeah, but he don't.
Hard to narrow down to 100. Make your 100 at home, and you'll
exactly, dude. It puts a whole new meaning to the phrase. Oh, this is one of my favorite movies. Well, is it though? Yeah. And Aaron the dog likes this more than Jackie Brown. I like Your Highness more than Pineapple Express. I don't have Aliens on my list, but I have fucking Your Highness. And like I said, y'all, when y'all see what one of my top 10 movies is, you are going to just laugh in my fucking virtual face. But yeah, well, that's what I'm here for. This is a fucking great time. Bad Boys kicks ass. That is an excellent choice, man.
Yeah. What's next on? That's great. We don't care about MMA here.
Armageddon. I could stay awake. All right. Okay. This one. Everyone has surely seen this movie. This almost didn't make my list because I was like, man, this movie's so played out. But it's kind of like Your Highness, where it's like, man, I just can't help but love this movie. I've been watching this movie my whole fucking life. This movie has a ton of nostalgic value to me. So when you see what it is, you'd be like, oh, man, really? That's like one of your favorites. It's like, yeah, it is, man. I can't help myself. I love this movie for a lot of different reasons. It has a lot of nostalgic value, but I'll just go ahead and unveil, man. I won't bury the lead with this one. Y'all have all seen this, and regardless of how high you have it, I think it just has to be considered objectively a classic, whether it's like anybody's favorite movie or not. It's not my favorite, but like I just watch it every time I watch. It's on TV all the fucking time, but every time I catch it, it still just like holds my attention for a while, and I just don't get sick of it. So yeah, here we go. Number 93 for me is the National Lampoon Chevy Chase Harold Ramis classic. You seen it, you know it. Vacation.
Okay.
Holiday Road. My dad is Chevy Chase in this. My dad is Clark W. Griswold. Mm-hmm. Especially on road trips. He's corny. He's cheap. He fucking sings and whistles and shit when we go over big bodies of water. So it's like, it has the nostalgia value. It reminds me, it's just a feel good movie to me. It like, I did go on a lot of road trips. My parents split when I was little, so I went on road trips with my dad, went on road trips with my mom. Like, we traveled a lot on the road when I was growing up. So like, this movie is one of the better road trip, if not the best road trip movie. I don't know if I'll call it the best, but it's one of the better ones comedically anyway. And yeah, as old as it is, as played out as it is, it still fucking hits when I watch it, man. And like, it does have a lot of feel good and still some of the humor. Like, I think it's one of Chevy Chase's best, certainly one of National Lampoon's best, and one of Harold Ramis's best joints as well.
Yeah, I like this movie. The first Vacation I saw was Vegas Vacation. So
nice.
Actually, I would say that is my favorite. My rankings of the vacations is Vegas Vacation, Christmas Vacation, and then European Vacation. It's still all right, but, you know,
dude.
It's not up there. And yeah, Noah saw the remake. You need to see the original. Don't watch the remake of this.
Yeah, this is like, look, it's well known in Hollywood circles that Chevy Chase is a fucking dickhead, but I can separate the art from the artist.
Oh yeah,
there's another Chevy Chase movie that's way higher on this list, and it's not necessarily just him, but like this is him at his peak. And I can relate a lot to this movie in a lot of different ways, and yeah, it just hits for me every time. Like he cleans out the fucking cash register. They're at the Grand Canyon. He's like, yeah, that's great. Let's go.
Yeah, and it's very wholesome, but it's got some dark moments in it for sure.
Dude, like when he like fucking Aunt Ida or whatever.
Yeah, like and just drops her off, like
and him flipping out, like him about to snap. Like I've been through that before with my dad, where it's just like, oh shit, like he's about to fucking lose it, dude.
I mean, good talk, Russ. I use that all the time.
Mostly when
I'm talking to Zach, I'm like, good talk, Russ.
Dude, wanting to tune like being a teenage kid and your fucking like parents or your dad's like talking about some shit and you're like, yeah, whatever, like some corny shit about some history bullshit as you're passing this one thing. It's like, whatever, dude. I'm gonna listen to like 311 right now. Like shut up.
And then like him zoning out and looking at whatever that model was who was in the convertible and
fucking what is it? Is it Chrissy Turlington? I can't remember.
I don't remember, but like either way, like that kind of shows up in all the vacation movies. There's like a point where he's like flirting with some woman and like
fantasy. Oh yeah, it's always when fuck, what's the mom's name? Audrey's the daughter. Helen. It's always when Helen like falls asleep.
Yep, Beverly D'Angelo. And then my favorite one, since it won't make the list, is from Christmas Vacation when like the jeweler's like showing her panty line and how her like pantyhose don't show, and then the wife shows up.
What did I say? Nipple?
It's a little nipply in here. But yeah, no, these are all great. All the vacation movies, and whichever one I'm glad. I wouldn't expect it to make your list, but it's your list. So
dude, Vegas Vacation is and this is why we're friends, dude. It is a close second to me, dude. That is an underrated movie. It's a lot funnier than people give it credit for.
Wayne fucking Newton. Just trying to fuck Helen the whole time.
Cousin Eddie is actually really funny in Vegas Vacation too. Give me some of the yellow and some of the blue. He tells him how much he's in debt. He's like, oh my God, oh my shot.
Yeah, Vegas Vacation's closer to making my list than Vacation, but this is a good one, and the remake sucks.
I feel you, dude. I feel you. Yep, concur.
All right, we're chugging along here. That's probably going to be, which is like probably where these lists for 5 movies should be, around an hour or so. I think that works, honestly. You know, we don't need to talk for 2 hours about 5 movies.
Exactly, especially if it's like
we're going for half a year here. Like,
if I'm talking about a movie like Your Highness or a movie like Vacation, it's like just fucking see it. It's like there's not much I need to say about it.
Yeah. Jack wondering if Kung Fu Panda will make the list. You can keep wondering for the next 23 weeks.
I am not going to keep you in suspense on that one, Jackie boy. Unfortunately, Kung Fu Panda did not make my list on that break.
Yeah, I'll let him be in suspense for the next half a year, wondering if Kung Fu Panda makes the list.
I put $1 and I got a car. I put $1 and I got a car. Put $1 and I got a car.
Each week he's going to get more and more concerned. He's like, oh my God, they still haven't said Kung Fu Panda. Is it top 5?
I know Jackie's list diminishing right in front of us.
Yep. But yeah, shout out to Vegas Vacation. All the vacation movies are good. National Lampoon's has some bangers as well. One of which that I'll just mention that nowhere near my list. Have you ever seen Senior Trip?
Dude, I love Senior Trip.
Great, underrated National Lampoons.
Very underrated. I don't know if it's his first role, but it's one of Jeremy Renner's first roles. He's like one of the protagonists, I guess. He's like the cool dude or whatever. Yeah. But that movie's great, man.
Yeah, that movie's great. Loved it as a kid. I was
the tracky dude, the Star Trek dude. It's the guy from Kids in the Hall. I can't remember his name.
Yep. Yeah, no, there's some good ones. I like that one. All right, 92. We got 2 more on my list. As you know, I am a man of the Jewish faith. And the Jews, we make some good ass movies.
Woo! Do you ever?
like, and especially about the Jewish experience, which sometimes people will see and they won't quite get it. I have a couple on my list. It's probably not the one you're thinking of. That one's coming up later. This is a Coen Brothers joint. I believe I have a couple Coen Brothers movies on my list. I prefer the Coen Brothers comedy, but honestly, their comedy seeps into a lot of their like crime movies as well. And I won't name any of those right now, but this is one I'm sure a lot of the audience maybe hasn't seen, and I think they should correct that. It is called A Serious Man. Have you seen A Serious Man?
I have not seen A Serious Man, but the title sounds familiar.
Yeah, so it's starring Michael Stuhlbarg, Richard Kind, Fred Malaman, a lot of just the classic Jews. I'm just gonna say that this pretty much describes the Jewish kind of grief, internal grief, encapsulated perfectly. It takes place in 1967. It's about a physics professor named Larry Gopnik at a quiet Midwestern university, and he's just been informed by his wife Judith that she's leaving him. She's fallen in love with one of his pompous acquaintances, Cy Abelman. So you hear these names: Larry Gopnik, Cy Abelman. I mean, Arthur Gopnik. I mean, it's just, and like he's just dealing with his kids who kind of hate him. He's dealing with a job he hates, and also like there's just this like impending doom that's pictured through a natural disaster that's happening like in the movie, and it's just a perfect symbolism of like that internal grief that all Jews are born and cursed with throughout their lives. And it might be one where you watch and you don't quite get it, and then to you, I say you're lucky if you don't get this one. I kind of understood completely where this was coming from. The Coen brothers they make movies so uniquely. He has a really interesting like ethical dilemma as a professor, where there's an Asian foreign exchange student who got a C, and he's like offering him all this money just to change it, and like you're dealing with like, should I do it, should I not, like, and then he ends up like making, it's just one of these movies where the main character keeps making the wrong choice throughout the movie. Like you're gonna be like upset and happy at this movie when it's over, because it's just such a stressful kind of experience and everything like that. Yeah, I love this movie. It's just like the whole time, like Larry Gopnik's character basically is like, I didn't do anything. And then he's placed into a bunch of unfortunate events. And we as the audience members are the witnesses to all these things. Basically, it's basically a lot of Schrodinger cat type of thing. It's really a unique movie. It was nominated for, I believe, Best Picture or a few Oscars back in the day, but it didn't have a huge audience. I think it's definitely gained a larger audience as it's gone. It's got some, again, surreal moments to it, surreal aspects to it that mixed with just the mundane reality, I think really works well in this movie once again. Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot
Holy
to
shit. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. I just realized that Stolbarg, dude, he plays such a freaky part in Bones and All. I just realized that's dude. Oh my god, that's one of the creepiest parts in the movie, man. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off or like interject with some random shit.
Bones and All rules, and that almost made my list. Maybe it should have. Yeah, it's just, I just think this is a damn near perfect movie. Really sharp script. There are a lot of hateable characters in the movie, like Cy Abelman, fuck him.
Nice.
And there's just like some real pitch black moments of comedy as well. Like this is a dark, dark comedy for sure. Yeah. Inglourious Bastards, you might be surprised on my opinion about that, but we'll get to that later. And then, yes, you can wonder for the next 23 weeks, Jack. And yeah, I haven't heard of Serious Man. Serious Man, it's a good one. It's definitely well respected in the film community as well. It's not as known as like the Fargos of the world.
Right.
I really think this one deserves a bigger audience and a better audience, and I think it ages wonderfully. So, Serious Man, check it out.
Well, shit, I'm gonna have to now because I'm definitely a big fan of the Coen Brothers films. I haven't really seen any that I had like. There's some I like more than others, but they don't make bad movies. They just fucking don't.
No.
And that's there's only a few that I haven't seen, and that's one of them. So I'll have to change that.
It's honestly my favorite or second favorite Coen Brothers movie.
Nice. That's awesome, man. That's I'll check it for sure now. All right. Well, we will kind of. No, this is not my last one. So I was gonna say I'm gonna end my list where I began it this week.
You got two more. I got one more.
Yeah, you got one more. That's right. Okay. So number 2 is a bit like 95, but a bit more well respected. It's a silly, stupid, very immature comedy, but this has a lot of nostalgic value for me as well. I will not bury the lead. I will just kind of. How am I going to introduce this one? Oh, I know. Fuck, motherfuck, fuck. Yeah.
Noise. Smoking
weed, doing coke, drinking beers.
We got the beers.
Yep, rolling bunch. $15, little man. Put that shit in my hand. If that money doesn't show, then you owe me. My jungle love. Oh. I think I want to know ya. Yeah.
I've sung that to myself so many times in my life. Great choice.
Dude, right off this is not, don't worry, this is not the last Kevin Smith Jenks you're going to see on this list. I'm a sucker for Kevin Smith. I saw this movie in theaters as a 17-year-old stoner, high as a goddamn kite, and I was cackling like a fucking hyena. This movie is very much like, if you like Kevin Smith, if you smoke weed about it, you have to see this movie. It has all the classic, like, a Skewniverse, like, characters, and it's one of the better, like, movies of, like, bringing all the other movies into it, so to speak. Like, it has all the Chasing Amy stuff, it has Mallrats references, it has fucking Clerks references, all those characters come into it, and it has all these, like, crazy cameos too. Like, Sean William Scott is so fucking ridiculous as the sheep fucker.
Yep.
And like Tracy Morgan,
yep.
Pumpkin Escobar, you fucking kid. Give me the map, Scott.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
it's a great call.
Yeah. Had to do it.
Yeah, I love Will Ferrell in this movie as well. The entire Fugitive references throughout. It's just like Kevin Smith is a movie fan. You can tell in all his movies. Shannon Elizabeth at the height of her powers. Shout out to Shannon Elizabeth. Jason Lee is the director. Was it Jason Biggs and James Vanderbeek who play?
Yeah, JVDB play Jay and Silent Bob, and then they also have the Matt Damon dude. Hoofleck is so ridiculous in this.
Oh my god, yeah, the Good Will Hunting 2.
Yeah, where he just fucking whips out the shotgun.
Yeah, Good Will Hunting 2, More Hunting or something. I don't remember what.
Dude, it is something like that. It's some bullshit like play on words sequel.
Yeah,
shit.
I mean, I do also love Kevin Smith. I don't believe I have a Kevin Smith in my top 100, but there's several that are in like my top 200 or 300. Mallrats, personally, my favorite. Still, I think it might be more nostalgia based, but the Stink Hand, the Stink Palm, Michael Rooker, and just it all taking place in a mall, the 3 nipple, psychic. Honestly, Goodwill 2, it's hunting season. Yeah,
it's hunting season. I know Jack likes.
Yeah, Jack, I am the click commander. Yeah. No.
Nobody works that shit like me. Not this little fuck. None of you little fuck.
I saw this when I was like 11 years old, probably. Like 11 or 12, and it was just like I didn't even know what the fuck that was at that point. Yeah. How do you like them apples? Applesauce, bitch. It's such a good movie. Great call. Yeah, you're coming strong on this side of the list. Even if we're not going to have any matches for this 5, I approve of this selection 100%.
We're just getting started too, boys and girls. Make sure y'all smash the like button. We will be back next week for another one. And we are about to get into the last two for this week. So put your antennas in this direction. And
my number 91. It is by a director I adore, Brian De Palma. And you mentioned Stephen fucking King. You mentioned this book, I believe. This is the ultimate good for her movie you're ever going to see. Do I need to say more? I shouldn't. It's fucking Carrie, 1970 fucking 6. This movie is one of the movies where it has that disadvantage, yet it doesn't matter, where pretty much everybody knows where it's leading to who watches it. Everybody knows. So I'm going to spoil Carrie. If you've not seen Carrie and don't know about Carrie, tune out for a minute. Oh, wait.
Everyone has, whether they realize it or not.
Right. So I just rewatched this with my fiance for spooky season, and she knew it was coming. Didn't matter. It's such a great character study for the first hour, where you are just learning about this poor, sheltered Christian girl who is held down by her mother, played by Piper Laurie, Margaret fucking White. What an evil, evil lady, and just tortures this poor girl. So does everybody in this school. Everybody in this school tortures this girl to the point where like she has her period for the first time at the beginning of the movie, and fucking like she wasn't even taught what a period was, so she thought she was dying as she's bleeding. Like she had no idea what a period was. This is a girl in high school, and then like the girls are like all throwing tampons at her, like laughing at her, just torturing this girl. They set her up with this, this pretty boy, and like she's like all guarded, and like no, and then he like keeps breaking her down, and eventually like she is like, okay, I'll go to prom with you. It's all to humiliate her, and then that final scene in the prom, or the final third act in the prom, everything just goes off the rails. I won't spoil this for Jack. Jack, even though you're a horror casual, this isn't like a horror movie. It is a horrific movie for sure, and it has horror elements, but it's just a great study on like sheltering your kid and the damage that does to it. In the last scene,
religious extremism for sure.
Yeah, and just like Piper Laurie calling her tits dirty pillows and shit.
Oh my god, dude!
Just like and then the vengeance that Carrie finally unleashes on everybody who deserves it. Everybody who deserves it. And even some who don't deserve it. It doesn't matter at that point. Stephen King, I think this is some of his best work, honestly. And it just, again, it's a movie where even though I've spoiled a decent amount of it here, it doesn't take away from the experience. It really doesn't. I couldn't imagine someone going in not knowing what they're getting into with this movie.
Yeah, and like I said, whether people realize it or not, like you've probably seen like at least several different like parodies of this movie and like
it's influenced
comedy shows that you've probably seen that you didn't realize. It's like this has been spoofed and parodied.
But like when you watch it, it honestly is a pretty horrific movie.
It is, man. Dude, the last 30 minutes are genuinely disturbing. Honestly, dude, the mom creeps me out more than anybody.
Yeah, and what happens to her at the end? Oh my god. I mean, it's just and it's one of these movies where, like The Exorcist, it gets only attention for its last 30 minutes, but the part that makes it so effective is the 60, 90 minutes that come before it that make you care so much about the characters. And like make you
keep going. I'll be right back.
Yeah, and make you like feel like so much hatred towards the characters. And then John Travolta, it was one of John Travolta's like early movies, and he plays just like a perfect douche, and just like it is absolutely an insane ending. I don't know how they pulled it off. Really, it looks so good. Everything is practical about it. Like I feel like there's very few movies where red has ever been presented more effectively than in this movie. I love Brian De Palma as well, and he'll pull off some great split screen shots, which is like one of his trademarks. There's like a really great shot at the prom where the camera's circling them as they're dancing, and like I don't know how he pulled that off. Sissy Spacek puts on like an incredible performance. This movie's almost 50 years old now, It came out in 1976, and it really does, in a good way, feel like a modern movie. Yes, I have seen Behind the Mask. Great movie. Really love that one as well. But yeah, Carrie, it's been remade. The remake isn't bad either, with I believe Chloe Grace Moretz. But check out the original. Like, this is a movie that around October everybody should have on their watch list. It really is great. And yeah, I just highly recommend this in the category of good for her movies, which are like, you know, there's not many great ones, but the great ones are really great.
Dude, this is like the you go girl of the fucking.
You just end and you're like, good for her. Like, good for her. There's some great explosions. I mean, it's all practical too. And again, Brian De Palma, like, if you haven't checked out Brian De Palma movies, just go and choose one. Dress to Kill, like, I mean, Carlito's Way, Slept On.
Dude, I forgot he I didn't put it together that he directed it. Dude, and I think I overheard you saying this. It's a movie that's old in like chronological age, but it doesn't feel old. It still feels relevant and like it's a classic.
Hard. Yeah, it feels very relevant. It never needed to be remade because nothing about it still doesn't apply.
Agreed.
And again, Piper Laurie playing Margaret White. You're gonna hate her so much. She's so weird and just like.
Oh, you love to hate her.
And then there's an end, like the end has just such a classic Stephen King type of moment to it, like where the hand comes up and grabs a character that is just pure Stephen King. So yeah, this is a really good one. Doesn't matter how much or how little of the movie you know about it, it really doesn't affect the movie. And like The Exorcist and like the great horror movies, it's reduced down to like those shocking moments, but there's so many parts of it that add to the effectiveness. So yeah, Carrie is my number 91. Just rewatched this recently. It's definitely staying on the list.
I love it, man. And this is a movie where you really get to see like the things that make De Palma a great director. They really come through in a movie like this.
Yep. Yeah, it's just excellent.
That's a great choice, man. And you know what? That is getting added to my Halloween watch list. I haven't watched it in a few years, but it's one of those that like every time I see it, I'm like, man, yeah, I get why it's so highly lauded and highly thought of, because it is, dude. Great movie by a great director, and the source material is pretty much like beyond reproach. So like, you know.
Yeah, the remake's not bad either. It's just not.
No, it's not. It's not. Have you seen Carrie the Rage too, or whatever?
No.
God, it's something, all right.
I haven't seen Carrie 2. I haven't seen The Exorcist 2. No, I don't like ruining my favorite movies.
Right. Sullying their reputation.
Yeah.
Well, I don't blame you, my friend. Well, those are some excellent choices. And another one that I can add to my list, A Serious Man, I will definitely be watching that, as I'm a big fan of the Coen brothers movies.
Yep.
So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this will be the last movie on my list, and a couple of the selections today have been a little silly, a little immature, but allow me to get serious for 1 minute. When it comes to movies, film, I love movies and film because there's so many different types of stories to tell. And one of the good things is that like the different like types of storytelling. Sometimes I like to watch a movie where like I really don't know what happened. I'm like, God, like, or at least it's an ambiguous ending where it kind of makes you think for yourself, like, oh man, what really did just happen there? Or like, it's so fucking crazy that you're like, what did I just watch? Or like, you're watching it and it makes you think critically about life and death and the meaning of life and all this shit. But sometimes I just like a good old fashioned, like plain, simple, stripped down, good versus evil, right and wrong, the good guy versus the bad guy. And this is one of the best examples of that kind of movie. This is a 90s movie. This is a 90s historical drama set in Scotland, but it may not be the one you're thinking of. Okay. Every time I watch this movie, I fucking love it. I could not leave this one off the list. If y'all have not seen this movie and you just want to watch a good old-fashioned root for the good guy and oh my God, do you hate the bad guy? This is your fucking Huckleberry, man. Coming in at number 91 for me is the Liam Neeson, I consider it a modern classic, Rob Roy.
Never even heard of this.
Oh my goodness. Now, the problem that I encountered with like how people view this movie is it got unfavorably compared to Braveheart.
Of course.
The only thing that these two movies have in common is I'll say three. They're historical dramas. They were made in the 90s and they're set in Scotland. That is exactly where the comparisons end. This is a much more narrowly focused character piece story. And Braveheart is basically like Scotland's independence from England told through this pseudo-historical fucking dude. Right? So it's a much more stripped down story. But what I love about this movie, first of all, there is top-notch acting.
Okay.
Liam Neeson, Jessica Lange kill it, but it is really the supporting characters, in particular the antagonists, Tim Roth, Brian Cox.
Oh, the guy who did The Jackal did this. I love The Jackal.
Yep.
And Memphis Belle, which is an underrated movie as well.
So Brian Cox is at his slimy fucking, the original Hannibal Lecter, he is at his slimy fucking best as this lackey. And it's basically like, I'll set the scene without spoiling too much. Rob Roy is about Liam Neeson. He plays a Scottish clan leader in the Highlands of Scotland. He gets done dirty, and it's about him getting his fucking revenge. Very simple story, but the acting is incredible. John Hurt. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of John Hurt.
Of course, John Hurt's a great. Tim Roth.
He is widely considered one of the greatest British actors. And if you want to see John Hurt at his slimiest best, look no further than his character in Rob Roy. It is some of the, I mean, I haven't seen every John Hurt movie, but he steals every fucking scene that he's in. Tim Roth.
Yeah, I love Tim Roth.
I will go so far as to say that Tim Roth's character in this movie is one of the most despicable and like love to hate villains ever. His character in this movie, you like by the end of it, you were like, oh my God, do I want this motherfucker to get it? This movie is beautifully shot, entirely on location in Scotland. A lot of it was shot in places in the Highlands that were so remote they could only get there by chopper. This is not a bullshit, like overly produced, none of that. This is like shot on location. There's some historical details that like, but it's a movie, like whatever. But the acting is great. It is beautifully shot, beautifully directed. The performances are awesome. And it features, my brother, one of the best and certainly one of the most intense climactic sword fights in modern cinema history. Man, the sword fighting choreography was done by the famous William Hobbs, who is a famous sword fight choreographer. He did Excalibur. He did Captain Kronos, the Vampire Hunter. And he also did The Duelists. He was the choreographer for The Duelists, which is Ridley Scott's, I believe, debut. Harvey Keitel. I don't know if you guys have seen that, but it's pretty good. And the sword fighting is widely considered some of the best. This is the same guy. And like, dude, there's really great sword fights in it, but the one at the end is so fucking intense. This movie rocks. Like I said, it
just came out around the same time as Braveheart.
That was the problem. It just had the unfortunate like
the
release
Deep Impact
time.
Armageddon treatment.
Yep, exactly.
But the Deep Impact is great, but some people claim it's good.
Yeah, but like, dude, this movie,
Carter Burwell did the score as well, and he's big Coen Brothers collaborator as well.
Yeah, dude, the music is great. It's beautifully shot. The acting is incredible. Liam Neeson. If you like Liam Neeson at all, if you're a Liam Neeson fan, you have to fucking see this movie. If you're a Tim Roth fan, you have to fucking see this movie. The act, I mean, I can't say enough good things about it. It's going to be a little too slow for some people. It drags a little bit in the middle, but it delivers every fucking time I watch it. It's one of my favorite movies.
I love it. I've never, maybe I've heard of this movie or heard of this guy. Like, the name sounds familiar, but I had no idea what this movie was until you mentioned it.
Roth got an Oscar nod. He obviously didn't win it, but he is really good. John Hurt. Oh my! If you're someone or anyone listening to this, and you can appreciate good acting and like it's the perfect role for him. He plays this aristocratic like scumbag who's trying to like make money and fuck people over and like get Rob Roy to lie on this dude, and he's like, it's crazy, man. It's a really fucking good movie though.
Sold. Yeah, man. I love hearing about a movie I'd never have heard about otherwise from the 90s. Yeah, this sounds like one I will have to check out. Obviously, it got buried. It's on Tubi right now as well, so it's on a free streaming platform here.
Yeah.
So, I'll definitely check it out very soon. I have a few of these movies that I had no idea what they're even about. So, very, very interesting.
Likewise, I'm loving this countdown. And like, dude, you're giving me some great recommendations. I watched that movie. Ma last night.
Yes.
It was good. I liked it.
Ma's fun, man. My brother watched that earlier this week too. Loved it. So yeah, man. That's gonna wrap up these 5. So we're through our top 10 of our bottom 10 of our 100. We'll start with 90 next week. Go 90 to 86 next week. But yeah, overall, you want to put up my 5 real quick?
Let me do that.
But yeah, started out today with the 80s with Better Off Dead. Moved on to the 90s with Jackie Brown. Stayed in the 90s with Bad Boys. Then moved on to my Jewish brethren in the 2000s with A Serious Man. And then finished off the list with, The Horror Was Coming. Went with Carrie here, 1976 edition. So covered the gambit here on these first 10 movies for sure. And definitely looking forward to continuing through the list with our next 5 next week. Thank you very much for having me. The Jackal is awesome. There's only 50 movies that can make my top 50 though, and the Jackal is not one of them.
It's tough, man. Like, if y'all have never made like a comprehensive list like this before, it's tougher than you might think, because it gets like if you like movies, man,
I had to kick off a bunch of movies I love. Like, I love more than 100 movies. It's not even close.
Yeah, no kidding, man. It's like, it's tough, way tougher than it might seem.
But yeah, this has been a blast. Love being able to not talk MMA for a little bit and talk some movies. It is so much more enjoyable. And God bless all of you out there who are continuing to dredge on with 2023 MMA.
It's not easy, brother.
No, not jealous.
But dude, man, thanks again for being here. This was another kick-ass episode. You've given me some more movies to check out, and my watch list is growing and growing. So thank you for that. And thank you to everyone that showed up today. Make sure y'all smash the like button before you get out on your way out of the theater. Mr. The Dog, is there any final words that you would like to give the people? Anything you want to plug this week?
Why we love horror. My channel, my other channel where I talk horror with my fiance Abby and John Mayer. We are going to cover The Exorcist Believer this week. Spoiler alert: that movie was dog shit. And so there's not go watch another review like where they're talking shit about The Exorcist Believer. It's all been said at this point. It is a terrible fucking movie. It's really one of the worst movies I've seen in theaters. It might be replacing The Mist on my list for most unenjoyable experience in a movie. Which I know some people like The Mist. I've heard it before, but goddamn,
it's a fucking depressing ass movie, dude.
Well, I love the ending because I hated all the characters, so I'll say that. But the movie we are covering instead is a movie that's going to be coming to Shudder. Which, if you don't have Shudder, sign up for a free month of Shudder. It's such a good horror service, and this is the month to have it. And it's going to be on Shudder on the 27th. It's in select theaters right now. It's called When Evil Lurks. It's an Argentinian horror movie about possession. And if you want to talk about a movie that is all gas, no brakes, has no rules as to who or what can be affected, this is the movie. This movie is crazy. It's probably the best horror movie of 2023. When Evil Lurks, we will be reviewing tomorrow. It goes live on Thursday at 5 p.m. on Why We Love Horror. Give the subscription over there, shameless plug and everything like that.
Do it.
Really hard over there. But When Evil Lurks, check it out on the 27th on Shudder when it comes out, man. This movie is insane.
Nice, dude. Fuck yeah. Always looking for another good horror. I'm glad to be friends with you because I can finally start to watch some of these horror classics and I can get good recommendations on new ones too. So thanks again, man. This is another kick-ass one. Thanks again to everyone. Make sure y'all check out Why We Love Horror. I will be doing the pub podcast tomorrow, but I will be back Friday on this channel doing the weigh-in stream. It's getting more and more begrudging, but that's what's coming up for me. But man, the Cosmic Countdown is not going anywhere. That is going to continue to rock and roll. It continues next week as well. Join this gentleman right here and myself next Wednesday, same time, same place. We doing 90 through 86. And we will see what we have in store for y'all. On behalf of Aaron the Dog, I'm just my 2 cents. Smash the like button. Thanks again, boys, and we will catch you on the next one. Goodbye.